The ultimate showdown between two of the most popular music services out right now, Apple Music versus Spotify. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this video. So during this video, we're going to find out the pros and cons of each music service. We're going to look at them side by side and compare the features between both of them. And I'm going to give you my opinion and my personal experience that I've had with both of these services, because I've been a Spotify user, a Spotify premium user, for about a year now. I've been a happy paying customer to Spotify, and I didn't see myself leaving, but then Apple Music came along and it puts up a pretty good fight. So that's why I wanted to do this video, it's actually to find out myself what I'm going to go with and then help you guys as well. So let's start off with the price, because it's almost exactly the same for both services. Apple Music is currently offering a free 3-month trial for their service, and then after that it is $9.99 per month for an individual plan, or $14.99 a month for a family plan of up to 6 people. So that's pretty basic. You got 2 plans if you're going to go with Apple Music. For Spotify, it's a little bit different. They offer a 3-month trial, but they charge 99 cents for that trial instead of it being free. And then they have the same individual plan, $9.99 a month, but their family plan is a little different. They charge $14.99 a month for 2 people and $29.99 a month for up to 5 people. And that's the current rate. So with the exception of just a couple of small differences there, they're pretty much the same, except Spotify offers a student discount. So if you have a student email address, you can get Spotify for $4.99 a month. Apple Music does not offer a student discount. And I think this is a no-brainer. If you're a student, you might as well go with Spotify and just save 50% on your pricing instead of going with Apple Music. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. Now, before we look at the apps side by side and see how they perform, let's talk about the music selection for these services, because here is where it gets interesting. With all these options for music services these days, Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify, Rdio, Tidal, the main thing that's going to differentiate them going forward are the exclusivity deals. Which music service will get an exclusive deal with a certain artist or album, because that's what they're all fighting over. And the most popular exclusive deal right now that we know of is, of course, Taylor Swift. She took all her music off of Spotify, but she is on Apple Music. So if you are a huge Taylor Swift fan, you're gonna have to go with Apple Music right now. Because I know you want to jam out to 1989. We all do, I understand. But you can't on Spotify. These exclusive deals are a bad thing for us consumers. We don't want to have to pay for 5 different music services to access 5 different albums. We want an all-in-one solution that has access to all the music out there, and we will gladly pay for that service. We just got to figure out which service it's going to be, and hopefully these exclusivity deals won't be the main common method for album releases going forward. So let's get into the meat of these apps so we can take a look at these side by side and see how they perform. Let's start off with playlists and radio stations. So my short time with Apple Music, I've noticed that the playlists are under the new section, which is pretty weird. There's a large selection of playlists on Apple Music, but the playlists are usually only 10 to 20 songs each, a lot shorter than Spotify's. On Spotify, playlists are a lot longer and can be made by users other than Spotify, unlike what I've seen in Apple Music, where all the playlists are from Apple, as of right now at least. Apple Music is still pretty young. Maybe they will fix this in the future. Now, playlists are one of my most used features on Spotify. They're constantly updated, and they always seem to introduce me to songs that I like. So in my opinion, when it comes to playlists, Spotify has the upper hand on Apple Music. However, I do like the Apple Music radio feature better than Spotify's. I've never been a huge fan of the radio feature on Spotify. It's actually one of the features I use the least because it seems to lack a wide variety, and it can become a bit repetitive with artists on a particular station. So what I've noticed myself doing, if I ever want to start a station based on an artist or song, I'll go to Apple Music and do it there instead of Spotify, because I feel Apple's radio stations are just better when it comes to variety and how their algorithm works. And of course, Apple has Beats One, that new 24/7 365 radio that actually impressed me more than I thought it would. I found myself listening to it first thing in the morning while eating breakfast. They play a wide variety of music, I've noticed, everything from Eminem to Courtney Barnett. So when I do want to listen to like upbeat popular music, that's what I'll do. I'll play Beats One radio. So basically Spotify wins with playlists and Apple Music wins with radio. Now let's compare the app usability and my experience with these apps. I'll definitely say that Spotify wins when it comes to the app color, or the app theme, I guess you could say. Spotify is a dark theme. I don't like bright white screens on my phone glaring back at me and staring at it all day. I don't like that. It may be different for you. You may like the whiteness of the Apple Music app, but for me, Spotify wins when it comes to the color and theme. I do understand that Apple Music is still really young and there are a lot of bugs, and I have experienced many of these bugs while using the app. The one major bug of Apple Music that I cannot stand right now, and hopefully they fix this, is when you are listening to a song, you cannot go to that artist, directly to that artist from that song, unlike in Spotify. So in Spotify, when you're listening to a song, you can tap on the ellipsis and you can have the option to go to that artist or that album right there from that song. Okay, so Spotify makes it easy, but as expected, they've been around longer and they should be able to do that. With Apple Music, however, there's a huge bug because when you're playing a song, when you click on that song and you want to find a way to go to the artist page that's singing that song, there's no way to do it. You can't swipe left, swipe right, you can't do anything. The only thing you can do is tap on the ellipsis button on the bottom right, and it will bring up a menu with these different options. And as you can see, none of them give you the option to go to the artist, except you can tap on the song title at the very top. But when you do that, every single time it says unknown artist and unknown album. No matter what I'm listening to, that's where it takes me. It's a bug that will probably get fixed in the next update. Now, speaking of updates though, here's where it's a little interesting too. Spotify can update their app anytime, and you can get it automatically through your updates through your app store icon, right? Apple Music requires a whole new iOS update. Unless Apple figures out a way to update the music app without giving you a brand new iOS, it's going to be really hard and difficult and cumbersome for Apple to release an iOS update every single time they want to update Apple Music. But then again, Spotify doesn't update their app anyways, like very often. It took them forever to get a properly sized app for the iPhone 6. So having said that, Spotify does have an advantage there when it comes to updates. Now let's talk about searching and searching for songs and artists in these apps. Spotify gets the search right because you can start searching for a title of a song or an artist, and they give you results in real time. So type in the first couple letters, it'll show you some results. If that's the result you want, you can actually tap on that result and it will start playing that song. With Apple Music, however, it gives you suggestions, but you can't do anything with those suggestions except tap on suggestions, and those suggestions will be searched. So you can't go from typing in a few letters to listening to a song on Apple Music. Spotify search is better. It saves a step for when you are trying to listen to music. However, I do like the way Apple's search results are laid out better than Spotify, because Spotify, you can't really distinguish which ones are different artists and stuff like that. It all looks the same. It's like black and white text. With Apple Music, however, it gives you a little snippet of the album artwork and it sorts it by top songs and top artists, stuff like that, all in a smaller screen so you can see more of that. With Spotify, it does the same thing, but you have to scroll down. But I do like the Spotify search better overall. Another advantage that Spotify has over Apple Music is the swipe left and swipe right features. So when you're on a list of songs on Spotify, you can actually swipe left and swipe right for queue and then add to music or save. You can really quickly save and queue songs. With Apple Music, they don't have those features. Also, with Spotify, when you're listening to a playlist or an album, you can swipe left on the album artwork and it goes to the next song that's in your queue, and then you can swipe right to go back. Also in Spotify, you can hold down on a song title and it will preview that song. As a Spotify user for the past year, I've gotten used to those features, and it's weird not being able to have those features when I'm on Apple Music. Now, when it comes to the queue and the what's up next, Apple Music has the advantage here because Spotify doesn't let you really do anything with this queue. You can, of course, preview the songs, but you can't really move them and make them in different order and put them in a different order. With Apple Music, you can do that. You can actually hold down on the songs that are in the queue and move them to a different position in that queue. And that is really cool, actually. That's something I've been wanting Spotify to have for a long time. So now you know the main things that I like about Spotify and the main things that I like and don't like about Apple Music. I am going to say that I am sticking with Spotify for now. I'm gonna finish my free 3-month trial with Apple Music. I'm gonna play with it as much as I can. But right now, I just don't see me moving to Apple Music just yet. Over the past year as a premium Spotify user, I've never thought about leaving or canceling my subscription. I get my use out of it for sure. However, I do like the Apple Music stations. I really do like the Apple Music radio, and that's something I'm going to miss. And hopefully Spotify gets better. 6 months from now, in 2016, there may be a very good possibility that I will switch to Apple Music. It just depends on how it goes. But right now, I'm not switching to Apple Music. I'm staying with Spotify. So I made my decision, Spotify for now, but it's going to get interesting going forward. So if you aren't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe right now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or suggestions or remarks or even corrections for anything I got wrong in this video, it was a lot to take in, but just leave a comment down below and let me know and talk to me, and I'll talk back. I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you for watching.